Hey, I'm Daryl Chang. I'm the creator of Houseplant Journal. I've got about 100 plants in my home. And I'm the author of The New Plant Parent. If there are 5 things you need to know about indoor gardening, here they are in 5 minutes. First is lighting. Light for the plant is the same as how we humans wouldn't be able to cook our food unless our oven was working. Without the right light, a plant cannot make its own food through photosynthesis. First, your plant needs to see as much of the sky as possible. That really means that it has to be against the window. And then secondly, you have to consider the number of hours that the sun shines directly on the plant. Now for shade and bright indirect light, that goes from 0 to 2 hours because the sun moves across the sky. Or for something like succulents and cacti, that number may need to be up to 4 to 6 hours of direct sun. Second is watering. Once the light is right, then there's really only 3 strategies to watering. The first applies to cacti and succulents, where you're going to wait until the soil is completely dry, and then at that point, give it a good soaking. The second applies to most tropical foliage, and that is where you're going to wait till the soil dries maybe to about half. And the easiest way to tell is to lift the pot, and if it's a little lighter than what it used to be right after you watered, then it's time to water again. And the third strategy, keep the soil evenly moist. This applies to really delicate leaves plants, something like maidenhair fern. 3 is starting seedlings. We talked about light and watering and how the balance between the two is really critical. When you're starting seedlings, they're essentially starting like little babies. So if you have something like an arrow garden, then it takes care of lighting and watering for you. As you can see, it has a built-in LED light that is extremely bright. I'm just going to bring out my trusty light meter to show you an example of the light that comes from the arrow garden compared to natural light. We're getting close to the same readings, maybe even a bit higher. And the difference with the arrow garden is the lights stay on for 18 hours, and that's the perfect light to start seedlings with. One tip is that we have to make sure we adjust the height so that it sits just above the leaves. So here, that means when you're starting the arrow garden, you're going to start it at the lowest setting. And the next thing is you want to fill the water in this little reservoir here. The arrow garden will tell you when it's time to add more water to it. 4 is repotting. See, the arrow garden herbs, once they reach a certain size, then it's time to transplant them to soil and grow them outside. This basil here has gotten quite tall and it's starting to even flop over a little bit. So we're going to pot it into a regular nursery pot that has drainage holes. First thing you want to do is take some regular potting mix, line the bottom of the pot with it. So with one hand, you're going to stabilize the plant, and with your other, just put the soil around the plant and shake it to evenly distribute the soil. When you fill to the top, then you're going to gently tamp down the soil around the stems. Once the plant reestablishes new roots in the new soil, it will become sturdy and grow up towards the light. Now for repotting houseplants, we want to make sure that the plant actually needs to be repotted. And the clear sign of that is when roots have been poking out from underneath the drainage hole. And when we repot, we want to go into the next size up, so something not much more than 2 inches more in diameter. Finally, it's important to leave room for nature. Quite often when we see plant care advice, it gets us really worried about all the little things that could possibly go wrong. Like this plant, for example, all of these lines on the trunk here are scars of leaves that have fallen off. It means that leaves need to fall off in order for new ones to grow, and that's perfectly natural. And I think that's a kind of more healthy way to look at plant care. You take care of your environmental conditions, your lighting, your watering, you try your best with the care, and then let nature take its course. So there's your 5 tips on plant care. I hope you've enjoyed them. If you want to learn more about the fundamentals of plant care, check out my book, The New Plant Parent.